everyone. The October 12th meeting of the Code Enforcement Board will now come to order. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call?
Yes, good morning.
Good
Mr.
morning.
Reynolds? Here. Mrs. House?
Here.
Mrs. Himes? Here. Mr. Harrington?
Here.
Mr. Jones? And Mr. Smart is not here. Ms. Kundig?
Here.
You're here.
I am here. All right. Will we have a motion to excuse Mr. Smart until we figure out what's going on? All right. We have a motion second. Mr. Harrington. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is your microphone on, Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on now. Can we, as a board, send some kind of a message if we find out exactly what's going on?
Or we find out where he is, or is he responding to any phone calls or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Do we have a second?
We have a motion from Ms. Himes and a second from Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. Has everyone had a chance to read both sets of minutes from August and July?
And actually, Mrs. Himes made me aware of a typo. Unfortunately, in the cover page of her name, there was an R missing. So that's the one change.
Where is this?
In the very top. Where her name's
okay.
listed, I'm missing an R there. So
Okay.
I'll make those.
Okay.
If there's no other changes, if you could approve to that amendment, I'll make sure to correct
All right.
that.
Motion to approve as amended. Mr. Weatherholtz made the motion. Mr. Jones the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Anybody need? That was for July and August. We had no September meeting. So does anyone need to disclose any ex parte communications? Madam Secretary, do we have any announcements?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have several announcements this morning. A few cases that are in compliance that aren't listed on the agenda, and some that are. So I'll go ahead. Excuse me, while my voice doesn't sound great.
Cases that are not on the agenda?
No,
they
they're
are.
not listed as compliance on the
okay.
agenda. So case number 1, CEB 061768 for 1450 South Palmetto Avenue was compliance October 11th. Number 2 is in compliance, CEB 061767 for 800
Amy,
North.
Case number 1?
It's on the first page, underneath the lien review.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So the lien review is LR1.
Right, we're still,
Correct.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Number 2 on page 2, CEB 061767 for 800 North Atlantic Avenue, compliance September 26th. We'll skip to page 5. Number 16, CEB 081796 for 404 McGee Street, compliance September 27th. Number 17, CEB 081797 for 831 Pinewood Street, compliance September 19th. And we're going to skip to page 8. Number 33, case CEB 0917120 for 101 South Peninsula Drive, compliance October 3rd. Number 35, case number CEB 0917122 for 608 Willie Drive, compliance September 21st. On page 9, number 36, CEB 0917123, address 609 Willie Drive, compliance September 19th. Page 10, number 43, case number CEB 10-17-128 for 1049 Peter Road, compliance October 9th. Page 11, number 46, case number CEB 10-17-131 for 14 South Coate Street, compliance October 11th. And that is all.
Okay. Now, case number 52, I'd like a motion to continue the case because the respondent is unable to be here, but he wants to be here due to health concerns.
We need to read the case in the record.
That would be case number CEB 1017-137 at 142 South Wild Olive Avenue. And I have a motion to continue the case.
So moved.
Mrs. Himes made the motion. A second? Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right, everybody. Before we start, I just want to say we have a lot of cases, as you can see here. We'll take a break at 11 o'clock if we're not finished by then. At that time, if you are here to have your case heard, if you will come up and see the secretary right here, please, the board secretary, we'll take your cases in order of the people that are here so you don't have to sit through cases where no one shows up. But we will do it in order, starting with old cases.
At 11.
At 11. Yeah, at 11. I'm going to give everybody a chance to be heard, so I just want this to move along swiftly, though. All right. Would our code officers please come forward and be sworn in?
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, here's our procedure. We'll be calling cases by number and for the most part in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any police that need to get back on duty, we'll hear their cases first. If there are attorneys that need to get to court, we will also hear those first. Do we have any? Okay, and any police? No. Okay. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. If you're not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner. Our proceedings are recorded, so please speak directly into the mic. The board hears from the code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond. Please direct all responses to the board. Witnesses may also testify following the same procedure. Okay. All right. Are we ready? We're going to start with our lien review. Lien Review 1, case number CEB 04-17-34. Respondents here? Please come forward. Good morning. State your name and address for the record, please.
245 Tarragona Way.
Can you state your name, please?
Jaspreet Singh Sodhi.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, we'll hear from our attorneys first. Then we'll give you a chance to respond. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Anthony Jackson, attorney for the City of Daytona Beach. This is a lien review before you, and I guess the main point that I would want to make on this is that there was a no building permit for roof work. A lien of $100 per day was imposed, which was a very reasonable, fine that ran for 137 days. And ultimately resulted in this lien now of $13,756. The city staff has recommended a reduction to 50% of the lien, and I know part of this issue is I think I need to look to the inspector if there's any other information about it. I'm just as you know, I haven't been here for the last two meetings.
Okay. Danny?
Good morning, Code Officer
Good morning.
Garcia. My credentials are on file. This is a case where Mr. Sodhi had owned this property. He had a property manager. He had hired to take care of the tenant issues on the property. There was in the rear of this building was a leak where the property manager, she admitted to me that she had taken it upon herself to fix it herself without a permit. So I told her they needed to get a permit. I sent out the notice, and she was then let go after a while, and then no permit was obtained until just recently, which now became under a new owner because he had sold the property. So that's where we're at now.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
Yeah, I just explained for I'm not here in out of country. My mother in expired this time in hospital 6 months last. So after that expired, so I will come here before there is tenant. Some leak is coming and.
Could you speak into the microphone? I can't hear you at all.
So the tenant is self is covering the roof. Is actually the roof is leaking. So tenant is self just covering in the leakage. After that, when I will come here, I will to apply the permit, and after that, I will repair everything, sort out the problem now. So it's my problem. I'm in my country. It's my problem is a family problem. So and this time is okay. So I just request. So this plate is not for me. I just.
Danny, I'm not quite sure. Let me ask him a question. I'm not quite sure I understand. This is the person that owned the property?
Correct. He owned the property at the time
The
of
whole
violation.
time?
Correct.
Okay. No, and you said something about a new owner or a new tenant?
He recently sold the
No, this time is not sold.
Well, wait a minute. Let me hear from Danny. Then you can speak.
Okay. He was selling the property. I'm not sure now
Oh,
if he
okay.
sold it. He told me he sold it, so it may be still under contract. But nevertheless, the permit was not at hand at the time. Now it is
Right.
between him and the buyer or new owner will be. So between them two, they obtained the permit. They fixed the roof. It is now in compliance.
Okay. So do you own the property still?
Still is my
Yes.
name.
Okay.
I want to sell my all property. Actually,
Okay.
I'm moving in my country.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
my wife is not happy for her. So I want to go to back in country. I want to sell all properties. So it might have only two properties, my house and my another house. Tenant.
Uh-huh.
So I want to go back. But this time is not my fault. Is the tenant is just covering the roof. So it's a temporary roof covering. After that, I will come here after 11 months. So I want to remove everything and so contracting roofing company. This time is okay everything. So I just request, is the penalty is not for me, please. I just request.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board?
You know,
Any comments?
one of the statements, the inspector, that you're saying that it's in compliance now.
That's correct. It's now in compliance. The permits were pulled, then the roof was properly repaired by the contractor.
And the reason that it wasn't repaired is because a management company was supposed to do it, and because that's
A property manager did the repair without a permit instead of a contractor doing the repair with a permit
yeah.
at that time. And that was before the hurricanes.
All right. Staff has recommended that reduce this lien 50%.
Payable in 30 days?
Payable in 30 days. What would that amount be? Ms. Hampton?
Madam Chair, just so that don't nickel and dime it, $6,500.
Okay. That's fine. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to reduce the amount of the lien to $6,500, subject to being paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert to the original amount. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, we've reduced the loan. You see Ms. Hampton. She'll tell you what to do
But
next.
dear, too much now, 6,500. I'm not paying it.
Okay, we've ruled.
Did you announce payable within 30 days? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did. we're finished with this case now. We've ruled and voted.
But, yeah, 6,400
We reduced it
is too much.
50%.
Actually, reduced 53%.
How much?
53%.
53%. All right, well. All right, case number 1 is compliant. Case number 2 is compliant. We'll move on to case number 3. CEB 11-15-58. We're here for a progress report from Daytona Beach Club Condo. Good morning, gentlemen. Please
morning.
state your name and address for the record.
William Turcott, 4700 Maple Lane in Edgewater. I'm the contractor for the owners.
Steve Merchant, 9451 Telfer Run, Orlando. I'm the president of the board for Daytona Beach Club.
Stephen Folks, 800 North Atlantic Avenue, Daytona. I'm the vice president.
Okay, we're just here for a progress report.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, just let me swear them in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
It's just a progress report, our regular report to see the status and actually maybe even determine the ultimate compliance date.
Wow.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're making great progress on the project. If you know the structure, there's an east building and there's a west building. At this point, by the end of next week, the west building will be substantially completed. The upper parking area, where a vast majority of the structural damage will be completed by the end of next week as well. At that point, all we're going to have left is the lower garage area and the east elevation of the east building. So right now, we're planning completion no later than the end of January 2018. So we're really getting
Great.
close. They'll be
Good.
starting to look real
I know, it's been a huge project. I love the color.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
It looks good. I have to go by it every day, so, okay. All right, well, what do we want to set a compliance date now, or do you want to come back in 2 months? That would be what, December?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's already scheduled to come back.
Come back, why don't you
And
come
then
back in
that's the-
December, and hopefully we'll be able to set the compliance date
That's the
then?
finishing of the order.
Yeah,
That's-
okay, we'll do it that way. All right, thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to case number 4, CEB 08-17-100. Kenneth Bueno at 205 Fremont. Good morning.
My name is Kenneth Bueno. I live on 205 Fremont Avenue, Daytona Beach.
Can you raise your right hand, please, sir? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, we will hear from our attorney first and the code enforcement officers, and then I'll give you a chance to speak. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the property remains in noncompliance, but due to the hurricane, there were some issues that Mr. Bueno appears to be working in good faith, but it's not completed, and so the inspector is asking that we amend to the next cutoff so he can get himself into compliance. And I would tender Mr. Reckenzone if you have any factual questions.
Okay.
Yes, I have a question. Have you seen any paperwork that indicates that there was a contractor involved before the hurricane?
The
Yeah, sir.
stuff that was done on top of the roof, if you can see in this picture there, has all been removed. So when it comes to the work without permits, about building the new roof, all of the work has been removed. And that was what he's
it's all
doing.
been removed, but
Yes.
there's no contractor signed to complete the work.
No, there was no contractor, and it was work without permits.
Okay.
But when he removed all the stuff off of the roof, that where he was trying to build the roof, he's removed all that and brought it back to.
When was that done?
It was done right
Before the hurricane?
Yes, sir.
And but you know of no contractor signed?
No, there's
to
no
complete
contractor on the
work?
site.
And are there any permits pulled?
Not at this time.
Not
All-
at this time.
The only thing that we have now is the outside storage. And I believe numbers on the property.
So just for
Right.
clarification, Mr. Rickerson, you're saying then that there are no contracts needed for the status he's in right now?
Correct.
No, there's no permits, I'm sorry.
No
Okay.
permits needed for the work that still needs to be done. When he removed the
Okay.
when he removed the
So
structure
he doesn't
from the
need
roof,
permits. Okay.
So
But
that
he-
violation is withdrawn.
it is
Or
that part of it is in compliance.
But he will need a contractor to complete the work.
No,
No.
Well, I'm not following you then.
the roof, he was trying to build a new roof. When I stopped him and told him that he needed permits by sending him the letter, and after the hearing, the first hearing, he's removed the roof. Removed the structure that he was building to build a
Okay,
new roof.
so the old roof is adequate.
So the old roof is adequate, and there's no permits needed because there's no other work being
All
done.
right. Thank
All
you.
he has to do is remove the outside storage.
What is left to be done then?
That outside storage has to be removed.
Okay.
But what you're saying is he didn't remove anything off of the existing roof.
No, everything.
Yeah, he did. This is,
There was a actual structure built on top of his flat roof. He was trying to make an arch roof. All of that has been removed, and it's back to the flat roof. And all that outside storage, right there in the back, that blue tarp, all that, that still is what needs to be removed. Yes.
okay. All right. Thank you. Would you like to speak, sir?
Yeah, I put a railing on top of my house, a 4-foot high railing, and I was gonna make the roof slope roof.
Okay.
So since they deny my permit, I removed them because I thought that it's gonna be stronger than whatever the code is gonna be.
Okay.
Because this is an aluminum railing that I was gonna put, and I was gonna put the new type of roping, the metal kind, and they deny my permit, so I had to remove it.
Right.
But now I found out something better, which is I will be putting a roll of like a shingle kind, but it come out on a roll, and I'll just spread it, and
Right.
I needed 6 of them to complete
Okay.
the roof. Now I have somebody to help me that we will be signing a contract for
And getting a
for
permit.
4 months.
Okay.
This one,
Okay.
I should not need any permit because it's just a shingle that I'm going to be putting.
Well, you should ask the code officer about that.
Okay.
Whether you need a
And,
permit or not. We're not here to tell
I
you
want
what you
to-
need.
I want
But
to
right
ask the
now,
court.
you are in compliance except for removing the trash. Correct?
Correct.
All right. When are you going to remove the
I
trash?
need 120 days to remove the turping there because I have a chicken coop that I built and I had to remove that. But because of the accident that I have, that I can only use one arm, my left arm, I had a T-bone accident and I'm not able to use my left arm yet. So I have somebody to help me.
Do you live there?
Say again?
Do you live there?
I live there, yes, ma'am. And I can only save like $200 a month. And so this is the contract that I will be having with him to help me to clean that chicken coop that I have in covered.
And it will
with-
take you, you just said it would take you 3 months?
to
do that?
because he work and it
4
will
months.
take only
4
like
months.
2 days. 2 days a week. So
So that's an awful long time.
well, can I ask 90 days?
And
I'm
I
sure,
don't know.
I'm
Let's
sure
see.
that
We'll see what the board thinks about this. Okay.
Okay.
Any
I appreciate that. Thank you.
okay. Any comments from the board?
I think that, the 120 days is extensive. I think that, in a realistic 30 days.
I agree. It's not 90 days we're talking about. This is what, in May? So you had from May to.
I had an accident, and it's been 1 year this Sunday, and I may go for surgery next month.
Okay.
Because of the tear that the MRI found on my shoulder.
Okay.
So this is the thing that I wanted to extend a little bit longer.
Mr. Jones?
Is this a neighbor complaint?
I don't know.
Yes?
Yes. It is a neighbor complaint. Go ahead. What?
Neighbor complained only the chicken crowing in the morning, but I got rid of that.
It's a neighbor complaint. You ought to respect the neighbor when we're discussing all this, I think.
Madam Chair, if we could just be heard on one aspect of that, I think the inspector at least can give a more complete understanding of the
pictures you see. You can't really see in that picture, but the tarped area, that's almost 2 stories high of tarp and structure behind the house. Whatever he has underneath that tarp, that's almost 2 stories high. That fence is an 8-foot fence or 6-foot fence, and this is from the street. It's a lot of stuff in the backyard.
No,
all right,
Madam.
all right, I'm looking at this first notified May 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't think what we're saying, though, is that we believe that he needs 4 months. It may be reasonable to say that the rest of the next cutoff may be a little short since it's a little less than a month, and that additional time may be reasonable, but nothing more than that.
So the cutoff date after the November cutoff date is 12/6. All right. Okay. So we're amending the previous order of noncompliance, and this is the motion: allow to come into compliance and allow respondent until 12/6/2017.
That was Mrs. Himes' motion.
That was Mrs. Himes' motion. Is there a second?
Will there be a fine attached to that?
No, it's coming back. We're amending the
Amending compliance date.
compliance
We were
date.
supposed to be imposing a fine today, so why isn't that carried over?
I think she's saying she's giving him more time.
We're giving him more time to complete the work.
And if he doesn't do it, then will we be able to?
Then
fine him at the next
he
meeting?
will be coming back here for the December meeting. If that's too long, I mean, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second to the motion? Well, then I say that motion dies. So let's have another motion.
The date, I just would like to clarify that if he comes back in, can we make a motion?
Absolutely.
Fine, okay, yes.
Yes. Well, all we're doing is amending
Well, that's all we were doing.
the.
We're
Right.
not doing anything right now.
Right.
There's no motion.
Right. There's no motion right now. Okay.
So I would like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
That we extend the time for compliance to 12/6, and at that time, if it is not done, we will impose a fine.
Right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, so you have 2 months, sir, to get that done, is what we're giving you. Okay, let's move on. All right. Case number 5, CEB 07-17-81, Beach Apartments, LLC. Respondent present? No? I know he was here last time, and then there was an architect here last time, Mr. Lee. Yeah. So neither of these people are here.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector, Jerry Sanders, indicates that there's a need for additional time, and I will tend to Mr. Sanders so he can express to you what's next, what they need.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good
Jerry
morning.
Sanders, City of Daytona Beach, Neighborhood Services. My credentials are on file. I spoke with the architect on the property for the owner. He has lost his contractor, but he has all his plans put together, and he asked for 30 more days to get his permit and contractor, and I have good faith that he'll get that done.
What has he been doing since December of last year?
Well, we brought it forward. He was working without a permit on this property. We stopped work, and then he got an architect like we asked him. The architect has put the drawings in and had the drawings complete. Now he's going into the permit phase.
Is there anyone living in this?
No, it's a vacant structure.
Is this the one that had the neighbor that's always complaining about? Are there two buildings involved with this?
There's actually just one right now.
Do we have any pictures of this so we can
That's
be
what we-
reminded of the case? I mean, in August, we didn't have a September meeting, but in August we were told there was good progress being made, correct?
Yes, there was. He had to put all his drawings. David Lee, the architect, came,
Uh-huh.
and he had to put all his drawings and plans together. And that's what he did. He had all his drawings put together, went
Uh-huh.
through the planning department. All that's been approved. Now he's in the permit stage. He's going to apply for all his permits to get the structure taken care of.
Did the previous contractor get a permit? Was there previous contractor on board?
The contractor he had assigned to this project just up and quit him. So he never started. He never pulled the permits. So he's in that phase right now to just take
So
the
you've gotten a
package.
contractor never pulled the permits.
Never did. Not on this project here. But he is in the process of getting his next contractor for all of it.
Can I see those pictures again, please?
Let me see. Hang on just a minute.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
Well, it wasn't the right one that was up there.
Okay.
It wasn't the right picture.
Oh, okay.
But while he's getting the picture, this particular one, I think if the architect was in earnest about this, I think that somebody would have been here at the meeting. I think that this has dragged on for a long period of time, and something needs to be done now, not postponed.
Was first notified a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
What are we looking at up here?
This is the structure itself. I mean, this is when I stopped work order. He was, the owner. This is before the architect came in. The owner was trying to fix the, structure up without permit. So I stopped him, and then he did stop. He got his architect. The architect drew everything up to make it right without tearing the whole structure down. So it's sound. It's just got to be rebuilt now.
Because the last time they were here, the architect said that he was going to certify everything that was done in there.
Correct.
And that he basically had everything then.
Yes. He had everything wrapped up.
And so all he needed to do is apply for the permit.
Mhm.
Right.
They didn't. Regardless of whether the contractor was there or not, they did not go for the permit. So I think that this is one of the things that keeps carrying on, and just giving them more time I don't think is an issue here. I think we should go forward with some type of fine.
Did he tell you that he was not going to be here today?
He asked if he had to be here, and I told him to give me the progress report because it was my understanding it was a progress report.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
No, it's for an imposition of a fine.
Okay, that was clearly my fault
Yeah.
then. But he requested just a little bit more time to get that done because his contractor did drop out on him. So
Is this in a redevelopment zone?
it is.
Yes, it is.
And I feel if we fine him at this point without this 30 days, then it's really going to hurt him because he's really trying to get the property taken care of.
Well, he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a
Well,
little
I'm
concerned.
speaking with the architect, and that's what I'm going.
Go ahead.
A little concerned because there may be some miscommunication between the officer and the individual. I don't want to find somebody who'll come back to us and say, "I was told that it's going to be a progress report, and I'm going to get 30 days." We can't guarantee anybody, but I'm a little confused.
Excuse me?
was told for a progress report.
He just told us that he sort of told him he didn't have to be.
Go ahead, speak.
I didn't
In
hear
the
what he
mic.
just told us.
I'd rather be err on the side of caution. Let's get them here at the next meeting, and if they're not here, they don't do anything by next meeting, then fine. As opposed to them saying this miscommunication.
Well, I think
they may not been. I don't know.
think we've had enough caution.
Well, he's saying he might have told him that it was a progress report.
He may have told him, but this board didn't
No,
rule it.
I understand.
And it
We're not
doesn't say
respon-
it doesn't
if the,
say that
if the
on
officer misinforms them. We
right. It does not say that in the communication here or on the agenda or any place else that this was just a progress report. It says action to be taken, impose fine.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think the inspector's sworn testimony is that he may have miscommunicated it. Whether maybe he read it wrong or misunderstood, but he miscommunicated it. A suggestion, or as Mr. Sino was saying, is that if it's continued, you'd still be able to find back to the state if you believe that that's the appropriate thing to do. So perhaps continuing it as a imposition of fine proceeding and making a determination at the next meeting would be at least more prudent in terms of the due process concern.
So
Now,
I would like
I'm
the
hearing-
officer when you come back, if we vote on that, some specific documented things that have been done. So rather than coming and say he's making progress on this particular case, I would like to know exactly what the progress consists of.
Well, it doesn't look like anything's been done to me
Nothing's been done to the property physically.
since for almost a year.
Well, that's hence the stop work. He was doing something to it. We stopped him because he had
What
no
was he
permits.
doing to it?
He was shoring up the inside structure and rebuilding the inside, doing plumbing work. He was doing all kinds of work without permits. So once we stopped it, he took the right step and got his architect like we told him. The architect is the one I'm communicating with, and he is the one saying that he's got everything packaged. He just needs to get it to the permit stage, and that's what, that's what he was wanting to know if we could do for him.
So, Madam Chair, what I'm hearing is, if we give the 30-day extension, if he does not show up or come back to us, then we can go back to today's date
correct.
with a fine.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Because I'm going on good faith with this
Okay.
also.
All right. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until November 1st.
If you're switching the compliance date to November 1st, then you won't be able to backdate it.
So what are we doing?
If you want to continue with the current status, then that would be, then you would be able to find back to today's compliance, or the October 4th compliance date.
Yes, Madam Chair, yes, my recommendation is that the board continue. That's what I was requesting.
Okay.
To the next
A motion
next
to
meeting.
continue the case until the next meeting, which is next November meeting. What is it, the 6th?
9th.
The 9th. The 9th of November. And at that time, if the respondent is not in compliance, the fine will become retroactive until today's date.
No, fine, the court will have the opportunity to impose a fine retroactive.
Okay, all right.
Do that option, do one or the other.
All right, we will have an option to make the fine retroactive until today's date. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. Case number 6, CEB 92 Nottingham Trust. At 220 South Wild Olive. Is the respondent present? And then we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for a progress report and a determination of compliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders, and Mr. Sanders, I will tend to Mr. Sanders to you to give you that update.
Okay. Mr. Sanders.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
I spoke with the owner on this property at 220 South Wild Olive. She's had a lot of trouble getting this tenant out. He has caused her a lot of trouble. She sent an email apologizing to the city and the board, and you know, she has since got the guy out. I did a recent picture. She's boarded everything up. Well, can we go back one, please? Keep going. Right there. She's boarded everything up, and all the trash is removed from the outside of the house. Now, she couldn't make it today, and she was very apologetic for that, but she did send me an email. And she said she's coming down next week to make a determination whether she's going to demo or try to rebuild the house. At this point, she hasn't been inside to see the damage because she just got the tenants out.
So the tenants are out.
They are out.
They
at
are
this
legally
point.
evicted.
They're legally
Okay.
evicted. The trash problems are stopped now.
Okay.
And we've worked quite hard to try to get that done. There were several calls towards for the police to come out, and you know, we've had numerous trash pickups for this place because it was a patient thing. We couldn't just run in there and yank him out because she had to go through her process.
Is there a no trespass warrant? Has she issued a no trespass warrant for
I
the
spoke
police?
with her and told her her next step needs to call Daytona Beach Police Department and get signed up on the arrest and trespass site and post the property until she makes her determination to keep people out of this house, because it is, you know, at this point, you know.
Is this the case where her nephew came up from South Florida to help?
Yes, he came up and he did a cleanup, and within a matter of days, it was back to the same condition. There were 12 to 14 people staying in this house, at not one time, but they were just transients in and out, and you know. So I think what we're going to do now is see what her determination is next week. She's either going to take it down or she's going to...
So she doesn't live in town?
No, she lives in Boston.
This is in the redevelopment area.
Yes,
also.
it is.
All right, we are here today, action to be taken, for a progress report and determination of a compliance date.
I'm recommending 30 days to get the permits to decide what she's going to do, whether it be fix the house or demo it.
Will it? Well, all right, that's fine with me.
I think that, you know, whatever the next cutoff date is.
Is she here now, or somebody representing
No,
in town?
she sent me an email, and
So who's going to apply for these permits?
I will make her aware of it this afternoon when I make contact with her.
Okay, that might be difficult to get any kind of permit by the next cutoff.
Well, the thing about it,
No.
she doesn't know whether she's going to need a permit or not.
Well,
has
she'll
to
need it to
evaluate,
demolish.
You know,
She'll need one either way. If she demolishes, she'll need a permit. If she repairs, I don't. Okay.
Am I hearing that in 30 days she will be able to tell us one way or the other?
Hopefully.
yes.
Yeah.
And whatever the next cutoff date would be, that date to let us know what's going to happen.
Progress report next month, compliance December.
May I have one?
Yes, please. I'd also like to see not only a compliance date for next month, but also to have the property posted, legally posted. Go ahead. Wait, Mr. Go ahead.
Give me a second. We just discussed that, and when the inspector emails her this afternoon, I'm going to include the trespass arrest site paperwork.
Okay.
And hopefully
All right,
she'll get
good.
back to us, and we'll get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just a little clarification. I think that we may be just a step ahead because there are things that has to be done on this property that we can see and know. But as far as what they were cited for the violation, it's junk, trash, and debris on the property, high weeds, and makeshift cover installed on the garage. So the only thing that's really remaining is, of course, there's high weeds again, which will be a reoccurring situation, and the makeshift cover that's installed on the garage. So it's not a permit issue. It's just the next cutoff, they should be able to do what's remaining to get this thing into compliance. Of course, if they need to be cited for other things going on, the inspector will cite them accordingly. But the only thing remaining is the removing this makeshift garage.
Thank you. That does clarify it.
That does clarify it. So it seems pretty straightforward then. The Chair will entertain a motion for the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date of 11/6 or be returned to the board for a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is the cutoff date the 6th or the 1st?
I think it's the 6th. No, 1st, sorry.
First.
You're right, correct. Thank you. All right, motion, Mr. Harrington. Who did the second? Mrs. House? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, case number 7, CEB 05-17-44. Respondent present? I think so. Somebody's coming up. Hello. This is at 714 East International Speedway Boulevard.
Morning. Can you state your name, please?
Gali Elakram. I'm
Raise
the
your
owner
right-
of the property.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll hear from staff first, and then we'll give you a chance to tell us what's going on.
Excuse me, is this a commercial property?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Hopkins has been here before. Go ahead.
Yes, that's what I thought that was.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh. We have correspondence.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as you indicated, this is something that's been before you. Mr. Hopkins had been here. They had two issues. One was the installation of the new wooden porch, which was without permits. They took care of that some time ago. And then we had no permits for paving the parking lot. And we're waiting on a development order. I do have an email that was received and this is really an update from some time ago that said that the planning department will be issued, and they did. They issued a final development order. And so the inspector's reporting that the development order has been issued, and what's remaining is they just need to pull the permits and get the work done. The inspector is recommending that permits get pulled immediately and that they should be able to have this work done by next cutoff.
These are the plans.
And
Okay.
so we're asking that you amend to the next cutoff for this
Okay.
work to be finally
All right.
completed.
Any questions from the board? Comments?
Why didn't you apply for a permit when you initially started all of this?
No.
Right, last year after the hurricane, the property was done. It was 60% of it was already paid. So a company came in that's Florida insured, and they said, approved and everything. You only have 40% needs to be done. We'll do it for you. We're going to go pull the permit. We're going to do everything. I'm like, fine, go ahead and do it. He said, all right, we're going to get started. I'm going to the city to pull the permits and everything.
Okay.
Next thing you know, that's what happened. And I mean, it's a big company. I mean, I don't know if it's a company, but they're not approved in. Learned later on that they're not approved in the Volusia County. They're only approved in some other county in West Palm or something. So after the hurricane, they came here and they got me. That's the only reason. I didn't do it myself.
And just for, if I wasn't clear when I said it the first time, they have to have a development order to be able to pull a permit, so they just got the development order. That's what they had Mr. Hopkins working on, and that's just been obtained.
So the development order took how long?
I'm not sure, but according to the letter we received from the city, the site plan has been approved, but we cannot pull any permits until we have a pre-construction meeting. That hasn't occurred yet, and I have the letter with me.
How
so
long?
That's the only thing that's
how long have you been negotiating with the city? On
Personally,
this?
not me.
Or
Mr. Joseph Hopkins has been working on it.
How long is this? It takes months to pave half a parking lot.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm willing to start the work
that's-
today and
we
hire,
know.
but Mr. Hopkins is waiting for a pre-construction meeting. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Any other comments?
Because, see, the engineer last month came in and, you know, and he had to present a plan to the city, mostly for the drainage and everything, and he said he was in the process of doing that. Now we're coming and, you know, it takes a certain amount of time to go through the city, plan review and everything. And I'm surprised that it hasn't already started, because it was a pretty simple drainage. And now we hear again, you know, I mean, the lot is already paved.
Right.
They started it without a permit, and then the city shut them down. So that's the course of events. And here we said again, you know, we still don't have anything done, or correct procedures being done.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, my understanding is where we've left off, or where we are now, is that the development order was issued last month.
Right.
And so we don't know anything about the construction meeting he's talking about, but our understanding from permits is what's left is for them to pull the permits and get the work done. And it's really much more just the appearance type stuff, because as indicated, the paving is done.
I have the letter right here from the city.
Okay, that's fine.
Well,
what we believe.
I feel on this, the delay apparently is not the defendant's problem.
Correct.
I mean, it's the city's.
Okay. All right, so that being the case, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow the respondent to come into compliance by November 1st, or be returned to the subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day, or until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
Yeah, I'll move.
All right, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. You have till next month to get your permit and get going.
So I can go ahead and pull permits in.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay. Case number 8, CEB 04-17-15, Norman Riley at 340 Taylor Avenue. Respondent present, please come forward. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name's Kelly Riley, 1132 Lakewood Park Drive. You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Jackson, hear from you.
Madam Chair, members to the board, the inspector just informed me he was able to get pictures this morning and satisfy himself that the property is now in compliance. We were anticipating there were some damage that it rose from the hurricane that was going to delay it, but that appears to be all cleaned up according to the inspector, and he announces the property in compliance as of today.
Wow.
And I'll
We appreciate that. Go ahead, Mr.
Good
Fitzgerald.
morning, Mike Fitzgerald for the City of Daytona Beach. My credentials are on file. This is the before. This is now. This is before. This is now. This is before. Now.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
All right, so the property is in compliance. End of
Yeah.
discussion. We'll move on. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
We need an order of compliance?
I can do an affidavit.
Yeah, the inspector will prepare an affidavit and make sure it's
Okay.
in the file.
Okay. Good.
Isn't that what happens?
Not for I do it.
Well,
Yes.
you drafted. but
Staff
he
will
signs
prepare
it.
it.
All right. Case number 9, CB08-17-91. William and Myrna Henry at Shangri-La Drive, 1319 South Shangri-La. Respondents present? They weren't here last time either. Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I guess well, first of all, this is before you feel in the position of a fine. The inspector is Danny Garcia. I think the telling notes from Mr. Garcia is that the respondent has indicated to him that he feels he didn't have money to fix it up and that he was going to sell a property. So he really hasn't taken much interest in the code action. And so where we are today, it remains in non-compliance. We're asking for a $250 day fine to a maximum of $10,000.
He's going to put the right pictures.
And I attend to Mr. Garcia. If you have
Okay,
any,
go ahead, Mr.
questions.
Garcia.
Daniel Garcia, code enforcement with Daytona Beach, credentials on file. This is the property in question. As you can see, those were before, and it continues to get worse since after the hurricane. And I have no contact at all with the owner. I did speak to him one time, and it was before the last board hearing, and he stated that he was not going to make the repairs and that he was going to try to sell the house.
Okay, fine. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved, which is a maximum of $10,000. There's such motion. Mr. Jones, second. Mr. Weatherholtz, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 10, CEB 04-17-20. Irvin White at 240 DeSoto Street. Respondent present? I saw him come in. Yeah, okay. Please come forward and be sworn in. Good morning.
Is everyone going to be testifying?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and if y'all could please state your names and I'll swear you in.
Irvin White.
Ma'am? Okay. Raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you.
All right, we'll hear from staff, Mr. Jackson and Mr. McCoy.
Do we have any
First.
pictures on this property? Oh, there they are.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Jackson, where are we here?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this has been before you on a couple of occasions now, and there's a couple of issues. Most recent, I think we were looking at one point that, and again, this is with me physically absent, but having looked back on the record, that we were looking at an issue that was more related to possibly an inability to rebuild because of the rule, and then that decision was going to be at least considered at a review. The contractor failed to show up here at the planned review meeting with staff. At the property has since, based upon a review of our demolition, I'm not sure what his title is, building rehabilitation inspector. The status of the property now is that it's been posted for demolition. So we're asking to give them till the next cutoff to resolve that with demolition. And so that's the request of the staff. And I would tender Mr. Fitzgerald, if you have any questions, as well as the inspector, Jerome McCoy, either one available to you if you have any questions.
How long does it normally take for a demolition permit? Does that have to go to 4 or 5 boards or anything to?
Good morning, Michael Fitzgerald.
Was December of 2016.
Mr. Jones, can
That'll
you
be
please
the
bring your
case.
microphone down? Thank you.
I see that it was first notified December of 2016.
Jerome, it's your case. I don't know. I just did what I did yesterday.
We've been working on this for a year.
Jerome McCoy, Code Enforcement. My credentials on file. Yes, it has been going on since December.
Thank you.
Now, what are we to rule on here? That he has a demolition permit, or that it be demolished with a certain time? I mean, we can get a permit and then not do it. So how can we assure that something is actually done?
What we're just saying, just for clarity, is that compliance from the perspective of staff is that the property needs to be demolished, and demolition will require demolition permit. So we're not asking y'all to order the permit. We're asking you to order them to come into compliance. But what it's going to require is that he obtain a demolition permit.
Right.
And demolish.
Okay.
Because see, the issue with this, that's come up is he applied for a permit, and that the zoning issue was whether it was single family, which that's in the area,
Correct.
and he wanted to make a duplex out of it. And he come up with a list of, I think, $14,000, if I remember, somewhere's in that neighborhood, to rehabilitate this house, which I, being a contractor, I questioned. But now with the city, they've taken action that they've refused the permit, and that they've put a demolition order into effect.
Right. That is what's happening.
So
what we're going to do is, Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until. I'm sorry. Would you like to speak?
So the issue here has been we haven't been able to get a permit
to
repair this building.
Correct.
We've been trying to get the permit since June.
Yes, we know.
The first issue we had was with the permit office. No one would give our contractor who's here today or my dad any information. So we finally, after me making some emails, I finally got somebody to respond to me. We were never notified that this property has been placed on a demolition list. We just had a meeting with them on the 4th October for the permit issue. So if they put it on the demolition list and they declined the permit, why last Monday we had to come up here at 10 o'clock in the morning to discuss the issues that we had with the permit? And they required us to bring additional paperwork that we had to pay for from an engineer stating that this building can be repaired. But now you're telling me it's on the demolition list. So why we had to do this last week if you knew it was on the demolition list? And I called Mr. Fitzgerald on the 4th as well, and he never returned my phone call when I found out that this property was placed on the demolition list. And I'm only here because since June, they have been giving my father the runaround. And so he doesn't have a computer, he doesn't have a cell phone, so the only thing he knows how to handle business is by in person. And I'm frustrated because it doesn't make sense. Everybody works in the same building, and nobody can give us an answer. If you put this building on the demolition list, why do we have to go pay an engineer stating that this can be repaired?
I'm going to let staff answer that question. I can give you my understanding is that because there is a rule that when a property it's called the 65% rule. If it is damaged beyond 65%
we have proof
of
that
its value,
it's not damaged over the 65%. And when I asked how is it determined that something is damaged over 65%, I still haven't got an answer for that as well.
Madam Chairman, we have no.
And we do
yeah.
not.
And that's what I'm saying. You guys we have to be brought here so we don't face a fine. But what I'm trying to get clarification is that the other side of Daytona Beach is not working with us to have this solved. So the blame is being placed on my father with this fine, but we can't do anything if we cannot get answers. And every time we come to this meeting, that's when we find out we have to do something else. So we thought we were at compliance because I have an email with what they were well, not compliance, but I'm talking about with the permits office. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have an email as of last week stating what they requested for us to get this permit. All that has been turned in, and now they're saying they're denying the permit. But no one has never told us that this permit has been denied. So we're coming here in good faith thinking, oh, all we need is a permit to repair this building, but you're saying that's not even an option.
I remember a couple months ago this rule was discussed.
Yes, because I think Mr. Bryant was here then. And he gave our lawyer incorrect information. He said we had to go through he came to this meeting and told our lawyer who came that we had to go to the Development and Administration Services. That's incorrect. I called them. They don't have nothing to do with this. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's proof that they are giving us the runaround, but we are getting the blame for it with this fine and demolition. But they are the ones who are, like, everybody is doing something to change the story. So if Mr. Bryant works with them, why you send our lawyer paperwork that we didn't even have to do for this? That's a whole nother month we wasted. And this was back in July.
Mr. Jackson, can you either reply to this or say, this isn't our judgment call as to who did what and when they did it.
Certainly, I'd like to call Ms. Rose Askew to speak to the issues regarding the meeting and Mr. Fitzgerald to speak to the issues regarding the demolition. So, Ms. Askew. Be sworn.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you state your name, please?
Rose Askew.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rose Askew, I'm a planner with the city. I work in development services. I have been in communication with the contractor and with Mr. White's daughter. When it came to our attention that there was an issue with the permit, I talked to initially Mr. Lucas, and he told us the information provided on the sheet that had the cost was not accurate.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lucas is the contractor?
Mr. Lucas is the contractor. He told us that information was not accurate. It did not include his costs that were going to be included for repairing, and there were some other things not included. He told us the cost for the roof was more than what was listed on there. So what I asked Mr. Lucas to do was provide us with a new list that he got signed and certified that was what the cost was going to be, because it did not match what was on the permit. The list we got was the exact same list he had given us, and he signed it and put a date on it for last week, which was not accurate also. I also talked with Mr. White's daughter, and she told me she had not been able to get a meeting. So I coordinated setting up a meeting to meet with the contractor, Mr. Lucas, and the property owner, Mr. White. That meeting was supposed to occur last Friday at 10 a.m. Again, the contractor did not show up, so we could not have the meeting. So we have been trying to work with them, but there's only so much we can do when the people we're trying to work with are not providing what we need and they're not showing up to meetings. The issue came up with the 65% because our land development code requires if you are under 65% or under, you can rebuild to the current footprint. If you are in excess of 65%, you come into compliance of the land development code. As of today, the documentation that was provided does not include enough information for them to say they were less than 65%. You need a current footprint of the property, and you need actual figures, because we have to look at what the property appraiser's office said the value of the property was, of the structure, prior to the burning. And we take that and compare it with the figures they provide. As of now, we don't have accurate figures still, so we couldn't do that. So with the building being in the shape that it's in, our staff went out and did an evaluation and determined that the building was in excess of 65% and that it was in such poor condition that it needed to be demolished.
And so
Sit down, let her finish testifying, and I'll let you respond.
my only purpose here today was to make sure you all understood what our requirements are as a city,
Right.
and to understand that we have been making an effort, but we're not getting what's needed. They did turn in documents, but they were not sufficient for what's required for us to make the determination.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to hear from Mr. Fitzgerald now. Okay.
Michael Fitzgerald, City of Daytona Beach. Yesterday afternoon, about 4 o'clock, we had a meeting at Glenn Urquhart, myself, which is a deputy city official who went out to the property.
Okay.
Because of the condition that the property's in with being burnt and the roof not being complete, the water's coming in when it rains. We're getting particulates that can be poisonous to the ground and to the neighbors, are washing out of the building, and so we took the action yesterday that we want the property to be condemned and tore down.
They never even put a tarp on the roof.
You can see the picture, sir. There's nothing on the roof right there.
No, there's no tarp.
And it's just in bad condition. He can preserve his rights by just doing a survey and having the property determine what the footprint is, even if he did take it away. And he can still rebuild if he can figure out all those numbers that the city needs.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
For clarity, and they are available for any questioning or if they have any comments or questions for them as well. These two witnesses remain available.
Okay. Mr. Lucas?
Yes, I'm a contractor. And Rose, I apologize for not making that meeting, but I had an emergency in my family. So, and that was the only meeting that I missed. But I also thought that it was repetitious because we had discussed everything that prior to by telephone that what needed to be done. Like you said, the concern came whether it was the 65%. With Mr. Irvin, I guess you guys probably already know him. He does a lot of the work himself. So when we came with the conclusion, the final analysis of the cost, the labor was reduced tremendously because he and his family actually do a lot of the work. So when it came with the labor, I can't put a price on his cost of his labor. So when you were saying about that, it was undetermining about how much it would actually cost or what was going on. That's why. That was one of the issues with that. And by the skills that he has the ability to do it. And if I could do it, I would probably do the work. And I'm sure that you guys would probably do the work yourselves. So now when you're saying that 65% of the cost and stuff like that, I'm not really sure how you can determine that when you base off it when part of it is actually labor and the other part is actually material because of the fact of putting a cost on the person, labor, how can you do that? So now when you're calculating this cost of the replacement of this building, the two things are labor and material. So if he's saying that we do an itemized listing of the material and it is $12,000 and he's saying that he's doing it for $2,000, can you say it's right or do you say it's wrong? So they determine it.
That's that. Okay, but that is not something that we determine.
Right, but they need to determine that before we be, so that we won't keep coming here. Until they make a decision to finally say, well, yes or no, that it's over 60%, and y'all provide another analysis, another cost analysis, or whatever the case. I don't know how you determine it. I don't know how they determine what is the 65% cost.
No,
so now
you would have to get with them.
Excuse me. Is it? I know. In previous months, you were talking about bringing it back up as a duplex. Am I correct? Yes. Is that your knowledge, sir?
Yes, and it was a duplex. It's not that it changed from something to a duplex. It was a duplex.
I agree. The issue with back then was, it's in a single-family resident and whether he could bring it back up to a duplex. The question,
but because it was a duplex, would they have to change it? It would just be returning back to its original footprint.
All right.
That's up to the city.
Yeah. All right. Okay. There are a lot of issues here that our board has can make no determination about. We have no power to make a determination about how the 65% rule works, how zoning works. We don't do that. So we are going to have to come to a conclusion. It's been recommended to us by staff that the property be demolished. That's the recommendation, and that they need to get it done by next month. That's so far what we have for a recommendation.
And Madam Chair, and if I can just clarify again, that while the city's instruction and the city's finding is that the property needs to be demolished, what we're asking of the board is not to order that the property be demolished, but to order that the property be brought into compliance and allow them the time that it would take to get the property demolished,
Right.
which would be to pull a demolition permit and to demolish the property, which we believe can be done by
Right.
the next.
Okay, that's okay.
So you're saying we should just find them as non-compliant?
Non-compliant.
Where does the demolition?
I was just giving clarification. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just giving clarification. The permit can be taken care of by the next cutoff. It would probably take two cutoffs, or the 2 months before the completion of a demolition. It's not practical that the demolition can be completed by next cutoff. So we're
Right.
asking for the 60-day period.
Okay, I feel in the motion, if we don't put in something about the demolition, it'll never happen. So they're in non-compliance, but we need to, what compliance consists in this case of getting a permit for demolition. And that should be part of the motion.
That's not on here.
So are we at the point now that it has been determined that the building will be demolished and that there is not a avenue or of acquiring a permit to bring it back to the duplex? Are we there now? Where are we?
I think you are.
That's the
That's what
city.
Mr. Fitzgerald just told you.
And can I just say, I just wanted to be taken into consideration that we're not just like sitting, not doing nothing. I know you guys can't make decisions on
Right.
this, but can it be taken into our consideration that it's multiple people that we have to deal with, and these multiple people aren't giving us the answers that we need to deal with what you guys are bringing forth? Like, we can't bring it into compliance if we can't get a permit, and that's something that we've been trying to do.
So that's why I'm not in these.
Okay, wait, one person at a time. Mr. White.
When I brought the attorney in last month, and Mr. Charles Brack brought all this information and throwed everything out of line, where we couldn't get the permit, we can't do anything out there. If the building gonna continue to sit there wide open like it is, yes, it's gonna run the smoke, water in the ground, but we've been trying to get this building remodeled ever since I first came here. And we did everything the city asked us to do. Every time we turn in a piece of paper, it's something else come up 30 days later. Something else come up 30 days later. And I've been instead of spending money, they make me buy rental license when I already had rental license. Everything was always something being thrown up to keep us from getting this permit to redo that place. That place could have been done. I'd have built the whole house since I've been coming standing up here. Completely, just me and one more other lady. And built the whole 2,000 square feet house. That building could have been done in 3 weeks with inspections, done, ready to rent. But dealing with the city, they would never answer anything. The attorney come down here and prove that the building wasn't 65% damaged, and now they're telling me we got to tear it down. After I get spent $307 last week to an engineer, went out there, structure engineer that they asked for. The last 2 things they asked for on this list, I did it. And this was last week. And I brought all the stuff in here, and now they're telling me a different story. Why you make me spend this money? You could have told me this last week. It just don't make none sense. It seems like, you just trying to turn everything back around on me when I've been steady trying to fix this building. I'm tearing down a building. I tear down, I got a lot worth $2,000. I redo this building with $14,000, $15,000. I got a building worth $45,000, $50,000 that paying me money every month to make a living. So why shall I have to tear down something I know can't be fixed? When I got a structure engineer to give y'all information said it could be fixed. This is a joke to me. Really, as much as I do in the city of Daytona Beach, many houses I have rebuilt in the city of Daytona Beach. Now this thing come up to something got to be tore down because they're dragging the foot of the city. Every reason we hear without a permit, the city was holding us up. Mr. Brown come up here and stand up here and tell y'all we got to go through this, we got to go through this, and send this attorney all this information that was totally wrong. I don't know if it's discrimination or not, because we both black, but he shouldn't have sent it to the attorney all this information here that had to be done. And when we went to filling all this stuff out and made a couple of phone calls down here, folks told us we didn't have to, he must have it. That's irrelevant to what we got to do. This is the kind of stuff we've been thrown off doing. Then they come up and tell y'all it's making a decision, demolition of the building. It sucks. Thank you.
I can understand your frustration and sympathize with the fact that you have done what you were asked to do. I believe the issue, of course, is not with our board, but with the other offices. And if you have a complaint, I think you have a right to voice that. Today we have to make a determination based on imposing a fine for junk vehicles, outside storage of junk and debris, structure, and repair. So we will.
That is correct.
We will do what we are obligated to do, and I suggest strongly that you take this complaint and work it out with them. As far as demolishing the property, there's nothing on here that
Correct.
we can rule on
Correct.
about demolishing your property. It's not on our agenda.
It is not.
And we have no power to do that. So I would like to see our board at least give you adequate time to iron this out, because I'm sure the city wants to do what's right on your behalf as well.
Well, unfortunate to me, the city don't want to do what's right because.
Well, I know it feels that way.
Calling the
I
city,
know.
he don't get no return calls back.
Yeah, I know
We've
that.
been steady pleading with the city. Every time you give me something to do, I break my back to go get it done right then and there.
Right.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you. Well, you'll be able to speak again, Mr. Bryant.
Yeah, this is the man who had sent the information to the attorney. Wrong.
Good morning.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Well, Charles Bryant, Redevelopment Project Manager. For the record, the information that I read to this board last month was came from our track-it system. It was reviewed by Mr. Reedberger, who's the redevelopment director. I read it from that report. During the time that this permit was submitted to the city, I was on vacation. Mr. Berger is the one who reviewed it. So the information that I provided to this board went strictly from what I had in track-it system. Additionally, I didn't send any information to the attorney. I referred the attorney to the planning manager, Mr. Dennis Mozak, and he provided information to the attorney. Now, I gave the information to the attorney who he should contact if he wanted to appeal, and that was going through the appeal process. That's the only information that I provided to the attorney was contact, and Dennis Mozak is the person who was that contact.
Okay. All right. I want to clarify something. We're here. The action to be taken is to impose a fine for a junk vehicle, outside storage of junk and debris, and structure in disrepair. Those are the things that are in front of us. There is nothing else in front of us. So I think we should rule, this is my opinion, on what is in front of us and move this along. I am sorry that you're having such a horrid time. But we can't rule on any of the things you're talking about. This is what we can rule on. I think that the junk vehicle has been taken care of. Is that right? Yes. I think that the outside storage of junk and debris has been taken care of. Yes. The structure is in disrepair. I know. I can look at it and see it's in disrepair. So that's what we have to rule on. Are we going to impose a fine based on that? Are we going to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow more time? But I don't think that we need any longer to get into any of this. About who did what, when, and where, because we don't have access to that information. We don't have any ability to rule on that information. So,
What about to the next cutoff so they can return?
all right, one more thing, and then the only comments I'm going to accept are from staff and our board.
Okay. And I understand what you're saying. I completely understand that you need to rule on exactly what was
Right.
scheduled to do. But at the same time, we're kicking this can down the street again. Somewhere that it needs to be determined. Well, I guess what I'm trying to find out, has it already been determined that this house cannot be repaired and that it has to be demolished? That you guys, when I said that the city cannot find any way that they will be able to permit that building to be renovated.
Excuse me, I think.
Go.
Yes. Yes. Because what I'm saying is, if they know that we're not going to be able to do it, it's no use to kick it down the street to say to make them get some more information and do something else, and then we're going to be right back here a month or two later with the same.
No, we're not.
No.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I think that you've already said what you had to say in terms of your ability to address those issues.
Correct.
Those issues are issues that the city is trying to address and have tried to address. The meeting was set, unfortunately, without the attendance of the people necessary. Those decisions or additional decisions weren't made. Perhaps there are remedies and they'd have to seek those. Perhaps it's another meeting. I don't have those answers. That's something that have to work out with staff. They have an attorney that's involved. They have contractors. And there's a process. And I just encourage everyone that if we just get back on the process and allow the process to take them to wherever they need. Yes, there is a determination of demolition, at least by a placard, I believe. The letter of notification hasn't even gone out because, as he indicated, it was just yesterday. That letter would probably include an indication of remedies for even if they disagree with that determination. So there's things that's still left that's available, information that's available, but it's all between staff and the individuals.
Correct.
And the staff has been, as best I can tell from the testimony and from everything I know of the manner of the staff, that they've done work to get the information to the people who need the information and to give them all the opportunities to seek the appropriate remedies if they disagree with the decisions being made.
But it's not a remedy.
Please, sir, no more testimony. I've heard enough.
Well, let's set a compliance date for the completion. It is structures in disrepair, so we need a compliance date.
We have a compliance date. We are here to impose a fine. We're not here to set a compliance date. We can either amend it, our date.
Yeah, we can amend it by setting a new compliance date.
I propose we amend it till the next cutoff.
The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until November 1st to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Okay. Motion, Mrs. House. Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
And then at the next meeting, we simply decide, has our order been taken care of? Is it in compliance or not?
Correct.
Then we're finished with it.
Correct. Wow. Case number 11, CEB 05-17-46. At 859 Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, Louis Rivera and Victor Peralta. Anyone here? Please come forward. Just wait 1 second. We'll be with you in a second, sir. He needs to be sworn in.
Can you state your name, please?
Victor Peralta.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, actually, you could have passed on the swearing because the inspector said he had an opportunity to go out there this morning and it has determined the property is now in compliance.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Good.
No compliance?
That's what we like to hear. All right. Case number 12. CEB 041721. MHP Daytona Air. Respondent present.
Oh, this guy.
Hi, I'm Jerry McCann. I live at 1017 Jean Terrace.
Raise your hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from you in a second. Come on.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you from position of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson. I believe this left off, according to Mr. Stinson, with the need for the resolve the damaged roof. He's been advised by the owner, and maybe the owner want to come and swear to it, that the property, that the roof has been taken care of. He haven't had an opportunity to go re-inspect, so we're only asking for a next cutoff so we can do the re-inspection and determine whether he's in compliance or not.
Great. Any questions for anybody? Do you want to say anything? That is a good thing. That's a great thing. All right, Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow a respondent until November 1st, 2017 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Ms. House. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Case number 13, CEB 07-17-79, John B. Clark at 726 Rawlings Court. All right. No one here.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson. Mr. Stinson reports that the permit was issued, you told me? Applied for. I'm sorry, he just told me something fresh from my notes, so I will tender out Mr. Stinson to give you the most current update.
All right.
Good morning.
Good.
John Stinson, Code Inspector of the City. Qualifications are on file. This particular property, the permit was applied for on 9/1. It is currently under review on 9/20. The building inspector has emailed back the property owner for some corrections, so I'd like to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Board will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until November 1st, 2017 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day or until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. House, second. Mrs. Himes, second. Mr. Weatherholtz, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 14, CEB 08-17-93. Michael R. Miller, 1002 Alice Drive. Respondent present? No. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson, and Mr. Stinson reports that the respondent has done nothing and that this was a complaint generated case, that he is requesting that that $200 a day fine be imposed to a maximum of $10,000. As it indicates, the respondent was first notified in June.
That is correct, yeah. Any questions? All right. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. Motion, Mr. Weatherholtz, and second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 15, CEB 0817-95, Paul Protentis at 528 Fairmount Road. Anyone here for that case? Okay. This is a tenant complaint, correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. This is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is John Stinson. On 9/30, the respondent applied for the business tax receipt, which would also require everything else to be taken care of. It's all under review. The inspector is recommending that we amend to the next cutoff.
So what did they get on 9/30?
Good morning, John Stinson again, code inspector with the city. They applied for the rental licensing and
Oh, okay.
inspection. When that's completed, yes, when that's completed, everything should be good.
Good. All right, so we'll give them another month. Is that correct? Is
Yes,
that what
ma'am.
you're
It's currently
asking
under
for?
review. Yes.
Okay. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until November 1st, 2017 to come into compliance or be returned to subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. If there's such a motion.
So,
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, well, that's good.
Madam Chair, may I approach?
Sure. Okay, we can do that. Let's finish the old cases and then we'll move on. We only have one more. And then we'll move on to the new cases and do his first, okay? All right. All right. So Mr. McCoy has to leave, so we're going to do the last old case and then we'll move on to his new cases first. Okay, so the last old or continued case is number 18, CEB 08-17-98, Stephen Bostic. Mr. Bostic here?
Okay,
No.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The primary issue is off-street parking. It remains in noncompliance. The inspectors, John Stinson, Mr. Stinson, requests that we impose a $50 per day fine to a maximum of $10,000.
Okay, so we still have the parking issue, the dilapidated fence issue, and the dilapidated roof issue.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again.
The fencing and the roof has been corrected, yes. The only thing left now is the actual parking.
Okay.
The permits have been issued.
No permits are going to be needed for the stucco. And the fence was less than 50%, so did not require permits at all.
And what about the roof?
The roof was not dilapidated. That particular issue wound up to be unfounded.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Have you had contact with him?
cut off.
Yes, I have.
Because I mean, it's just a matter of getting rid of the car.
Unfortunately, he's out of the country, so we kind of had to deal with third party. But I mean, the parking situation changes obviously since the cars move in and out. But he's definitely aware of that.
Okay.
These are rental cars or cars from renters. Is that right?
No, it's a family-owned property, but
they're just not
more than one family member
Okay.
has vehicles.
So you're asking $50 per day?
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $50 per day against the respondent effective today. Continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to our new cases. And with that, what we're going to do is take Mr. McCoy's cases. Which, how many? Oh, my. Well, we're going to start on page 6, number 26. This is case number CEB 09-17-113. The respondent present, Mr. Suja? No. All right. This is just for compliance or non-compliance?
That's correct, Madam Chair. And as you said, these are Mr. McCoy's case. He reports that he's received a response from the owner, but it remains in non-compliance. He's asking for a finding of noncompliance, the next cutoff for the property be brought into compliance.
Okay. Questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order to respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 11/1/2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second. Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did you
Like,
put a-
sign opposed, all
excuse
right?
me,
That's
did you put a limit on that?
limit $1,000, yeah. $1,000 per day.
I mean, a maximum? Up
No,
to-
you don't need to do that.
Just non-compliance?
Right, next cutoff. All right, this is just compliance or non-compliance. All right, case number 27 is the same person, CB 0917-114. Mr. Suja is not here, still not here. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So, same situation. The property remains in noncompliance. Nothing's been done. As you see, this is a specific unit identified. And so request is for finding of noncompliance next cutoff to come into compliance.
Chair will entertain a motion. Any objection from the board? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, November 1st, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Himes, second. Ms. House, all in favor say aye. Like, sign, opposed, motion carries. I did it again, right? Okay. Okay, here's case 28, Mr. Suja. 118 Emmett. This is a different, same unit, same thing.
Well, different structure. So this one is tenant
Different
occupied. This is
structure.
rental, non-compliant. The inspector requests that you make a finding of non-compliance and give them until next call to come to compliance.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, November 1st, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second. Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed, motion carries. Case number 29, CEB 09-17-116. Mr. Castillo, available? No. Okay.
He was here.
Is he here? Mr. Castillo?
He was here.
No? He was here.
You want to pass and
All right, we'll pass that one and go down to case 30, CEB 0917-117, Mr. Chaudhry. Okay, respondent not here. Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, this is before you for compliance and non-compliance. The inspector, Jerome McCoy, he says that the property remains in non-compliance. He's had no contact with the owner. He requests next call for the property to come into compliance.
No contact. Okay. Chair will, unless there are objections, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, November 1st, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed. Motion carries. So is this Mr. Castillo?
No.
Castillo? No. Still not here. All right. Let's, do we have more, Mr. Mahoney? You do. Okay. Case number 31, CEB 0917-118, Mohammed Kabaza. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name, please? Mohammed Kabazi.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from staff first, and then I'll give you a chance to respond.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerome McCoy. Mr. McCoy reports that the property, to his knowledge, remains in non-compliance. He's had no contact with the owner. This is his first time seeing the owner. And he's requesting next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Mr. McCoy, what needs to be done?
Jerome
Yeah.
McCoy, code officer. My credentials on file.
Uh-huh.
The debris still exists. Nothing has been cleaned up
Mhm.
over there. The line has been cut, but the debris is still on the property. So, and we're getting complaints from around the neighbors.
Okay. What would you like to tell us, Mr. Kabazi? Do you live there? Excuse me.
No,
do you
ma'am.
live there? No,
It's
you
an
don't
empty
live
lot.
there. What?
Empty lot. It used to have a house. If you look at.
What? Wait a minute. Do we have pictures? I thought I
We're
saw.
looking
it.
at business.
This is the property.
Okay.
Originally, it has a house. I have a problem with vagrants in it. You imposed a fine on me, and I ended up tearing the house down. I'm still having a problem with the vagrants. I put in the police a no trespassing request, and we have cleaned this almost on a monthly basis, and it keeps recurring back. I do not know who is staying there. They have brought paint, they have brought tires, they have cleaned the house next door and dumped it on the house, and I have to clean it, and it's a recurring problem. I only need the help from the police department to inform if anybody's on the site to just hold them responsible. I've been paying for every time about $200 for debris removal just from the trash that's keep accumulating.
Now, I'm sorry that's happening. It is partially a police issue, but you have to keep the property clean.
Well, I keep every time we cut it, we clean it, and it just keep happening. We cannot. I do not know who is the person. I do not know.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Okay.
Sir, this says that the first violation was in June, and
It's been cleaned a couple of times.
You removed the rubbish. Did you report that to the officer that you had removed
I
the
actually
rubbish?
got two calls. One from the city, and they removed it by the city, and I paid the removal.
Okay, they removed it.
And the second time, I removed it myself, and this still, within a couple of days, I have the same trash.
Well, I'm trying to
Somebody's bringing it
understand
back.
this date. If you had come into compliance by removing it, this date would not be accurate. You would have removed.
This is a recurring problem. It doesn't take more than a week that you will have the same rubbish in the same
I
area.
understand it, but each time you clear it, if you're under a code violation, you need to notify the officer who issued the violation that it's now in compliance. And because this looks like you haven't done anything since June.
This is another. This is something that just I do not know where it comes from.
Yeah.
It is not something that we do. It's not something that I'm bringing to the property. It is something that I'm inheriting with this property. I know there is a fine on that property that's in the thousands because of previous problem with the house, and it seems like it's the same.
Yeah, well,
person
we're
that
just
comes back.
ruling on what's in front of us right here, and
So
the
I
only
ca-
thing we're doing today is whether the property is in compliance or not in compliance. And when I look at that, I see that it's not in compliance. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, I'm sure what he's describing sounds difficult, and it very well could be.
Mhm.
It is a residential neighborhood. There are complaints
Mhm.
about the condition. Is complaint generated,
Mhm.
and as a property owner, I guess he has to find a creative way to get it resolved. It means having someone once a week to go there and check his property. He lives in Ormond, or something to make sure it's clear. And I guess that's I can't solve it for him, but he has to get it resolved because their neighbor complains and it's a violation
Right.
of the code.
Mr. Jessamine, would you like to speak?
Officer Jessamine, I understand it's on the list, you put it on our list, but I also understand it's not properly posted. That's on him to post the property, and he's aware of that. So you gotta make sure it's posted. We can't act on that unless it's posted properly.
We have post every time we cut the yard, we put a no trespassing sign, and the next time we come in the yard, there's debris and the sign is gone. I mean, I mean, we had it on the tree. We
Okay,
climbed the
he's
ladder
giving
and
you
put it.
advice.
So if you
Okay.
would give me till next time, we will do that
yep.
one. If I will contact you and.
Yes.
But I would ask your help.
But as of today, the property is not in compliance, and that's what we're ruling on. So the chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent in noncompliance in order for the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is November 1st,
Thank you, ma'am.
2017, and be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
$1,000
Motion.
per day for removing trash?
Motion, Mrs. Hines, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. House. All in favor say aye. Like
Aye.
sign opposed. Up to.
Thank you.
All right. Now, did the other person come back yet? No. Okay. So we'll go to 32, case number CB09-17-119. Land Trust 433 Marion, care of Trustee LLC, at 433 Marion Street. Respondent present. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Daisy Cazares, and
Stacy?
Daisy.
Okay.
And I am the sister-in-law of Aaron Mitchell, who's the owner of the TRSTE LLC.
Okay. And you're authorized to speak for that
Yes.
person. Okay, please be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll hear from staff first.
Sure.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector, Jerome McCoy, Mr. McCoy reports that his first contact with anyone on behalf of the owners was today, this morning. The property remains in non-compliance, and he's asking for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Would you like to tell us something about all these infractions?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
The property, as far as speaking, of course, on behalf, I don't know the whole, I guess, legality of the situation, but this property was placed on a trust, which Aaron Mitchell is I would say, the financing party. The owner and operator current to the property his name is Carlos Charles, and he is the one who is, I guess, guilty of all these violations.
No, the owner of the property is.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
But he just wants a little, I would say, more time. He has since retained a lawyer, and he's in the process of foreclosing on Carlos Charles so that he can legally make changes to the property and take care of the violations. He's more than willing to, but the lawyer recommended that he not touch the property until the foreclosure comes in effect.
This notification went out on June. What's happened since June? Anything?
I'm not sure. I know they sought, I guess, legal help, and the foreclosure, it's been months that they've actually, I guess.
Has it been filed, foreclosure?
Yes, I have a letter from the lawyer and his contact
When do you expect that
information.
to be finalized?
I'm not sure.
Does it say in the letter?
It doesn't say in the letter.
Let's give the letter to Amy.
Is there anyone living there now?
I drove past the property. I was here 2 days ago on another case, and there is somebody in the property.
Who's in there?
I'm not sure who's in there.
I mean, is it a tenant?
A tenant is in there?
Yeah, it's a tenant. Yes, a tenant
Okay.
stays there.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
And that's the person they're trying to get out. That, you know who it is because you just said there's a
No,
suit
I've done that.
pending. Is that there's more? Is there more than one unit in there?
I know only one is only one. I think there's two, but I believe the other one's blocked off and nobody lives there.
Okay, so you do know who the tenant is.
It says
It's
in
this
the
person
process
you're
of
trying to evict.
foreclosing, It doesn't say
Well,
when, where.
I mean, this
Anything's
is the
been
first time I've
filed.
heard of the case. I
You
drove
see what
past
that
there,
says.
but
I don't
I
read
tried
it
to
says
contact somebody. I tried to contact Carlos Charles. I don't know where he lives. I tried asking the tenants. Nobody. I mean, they gave me the runaround.
No dates.
No dates. There's nothing on it. All right. The fact remains that there are a lot of violations in there. They're here that we can see them. There's a tenant in there. There's no date for foreclosure. So at this point, what I'd like to do is to just find the respondent in noncompliance, and we'll move on from there.
What we need, though, is you're going to come back next month, if it's in the process, we need specific dates. When is it going to be foreclosed? When are you going to have a final
Right.
judgment?
Okay.
When is it going to be the sale?
Yeah.
I agree.
Until you actually own the
Right.
property, you want to put any money into it.
All right. I know.
The lawyer might be a little more specific in the
Yeah, we
information
will.
that he.
We're going to do it because Mr. McCoy has to leave at 11, so we'll stop at that.
That he hasn't indicated in the letter that he's done anything.
Okay.
We got a quorum.
I mean, I totally get it. I understand there are certain things that you can do and can't do. Unfortunately, like I said, they live out of state, and I'm the only person in the state that can actually, come here and at least say something and not let it, go unanswered.
Well, the owner is responsible.
Right.
Just get us some more specifics.
We need to have specifics next
If you're
time.
going through a foreclosure, we understand we need to know when, now, why.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, you can
Okay.
keep that.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign
So
opposed.
please notify your attorney that we've
Okay.
made this ruling.
Definitely.
Yeah, no.
All right. How many more cases, Mr. McCoy? Do you? Just two. Okay. Case 34, CEB 0917-121, Tracy Smith. Is she available? Nope. Okay. Working without permits. Simple.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance for violation of working without permits. The inspectors, Mr. McCoy reports that the property remains in noncompliance. And he spoke with the owner, and he's asking for next cutoff to come into compliance.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Oh,
Cheryl,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. Do you want, Mr. McCoy, you want
Yeah.
to say something?
Yes, Jerome McCoy. Yes, I did do some checking, and he actually applied for the permit yesterday. So, and I just became aware of that.
Okay, good.
He applied for the permit yesterday.
No, he's,
So is he, but the permit has not been
It's not, it hasn't been
approved, so
approved.
but by next cutoff it should be. Okay, thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and a respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Himes made the motion. Mr. Weatherholtz the second. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, we have one more case from Mr. McCoy. He's here? Oh, all right. Case number 29, CEB 0917-116, Julio Castillo. Is he here?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Please state your name.
My name is Julio Victor Castillo.
And be sworn in.
Yeah.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I was.
Well, wait. No, we're going to hear from our staff first, okay? And then we'll give you a chance to talk, sir.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. Jerome McCoy is the inspector, and he reports that the property is currently in noncompliance, and he's asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance.
No, that's the old one. Okay. Which one are we looking at? Let us look at the pictures here for a second. Is this it? Okay.
Yes, Jerome McCoy, code inspector. Yes, the place is still quite a bit of debris on the outside. On the outside, however, I'll let him testify to this as well. That he was incarcerated and he just yesterday, so he hasn't been able to correct the issues. We had to secure the place because the front door was smashed in. We went by a couple days ago and we had to secure it. So.
Okay, but all these violations are still occurring,
exist,
according to the pictures they are. Okay, thank you very much. Would you like to come tell us what's going on?
I got into an altercation with a homeless person that was evicted from a home on 349 Jefferson Street, across the street. And he called the police on me, and he said that I, assaulted him, and they arrested me. And it took 2 months for my attorney and judges to realize that the person was lying. And I was supposed to be out in September, but because of the storm, it got delayed, and I was just released on Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And they dropped the charges and everything, and I got only thing I have that the Volusia County gave me was my mugshot of the day that I was arrested. I was arrested on May 30th.
You're testifying.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
And I'm not. And I was told by neighbors and the church next door that they called code enforcement because there was more than 10 homeless people living inside my home. They got wind of it that there was someone who was living at 360 and I was in jail, so they all moved in there and they made a big party.
Okay, is your house secure right now?
Yes, it is secure because...
Are you living there right now?
Currently, I'm not living there right now, but I do come and I've been
Where are you living
cleaning.
right now?
I'm living at a friend's house.
Okay, that's fine. That's all. You're not living there.
Right.
If you were arrested May 30th, how could you have received this notice on June 26th? Were you in jail all that time?
I've been 4 months in Volusia County jail.
Something doesn't make sense then. If you were arrested May 30th,
right,
you couldn't have received it. No.
I never received anything I was in jail, sir.
Do we have it? Do we have something that says he was notified?
It was posted.
It was posted.
It was posted.
I wasn't in the neighborhood.
I know. I understand.
All
right. So we're here to. You're here. So
now,
and we're to determine whether your property is in compliance or non-compliance.
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty obvious from the pictures that it's not in compliance.
Yes. Not due to my fault.
Well, that didn't happen overnight either, but that's all we're here to do.
Okay.
Any comments from the board?
I think we should be as lenient as possible, considering the fact that he hasn't been able to do anything since he's been behind bars.
Thank you, sir.
When you said lenient, how much time are you speaking of, Mr. Jones?
I don't think he heard you.
I said, when you said lenient, how much time are you talking of?
At least a month, 2 months.
Well, we would do a month automatically.
Yes.
The next cutoff would be a month, and I think we need to see some. We can deal with it then.
11/1, so it'll only be. That's cut off at 11/1.
Yeah.
So that's talking about 18 days from now, 19 days from now.
Is that enough time to clean it up?
What I need to do is just take that debris and throw it all away. I have a neighbor. His name is Brother Robinson. He's from the church next door from me. He said he was going to cut all the grass for me and trim the trees. And the church next door from me, there's a church right next door from me. I think the officer right there can tell you that, the church is going to be helping me.
So
Yes, ma'am.
if we give you 30 days, then you'll have at least most of the outside done.
Yes, I will, sir. Thank you.
Mrs. Himes has made a motion that we find the respondent in noncompliance in order to come into compliance by the December 6th cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Just want to make sure it stays secure. That's part of the motion.
Okay. So we will amend that motion. No, you need to keep the property secure and posted. Do we put that in the motion?
Well, I don't know. In this circumstance, it seems that, I'm sorry, in this circumstance, it seems like, if I'm understanding him right, it is his primary residence. So I would presume as soon as it's cleaned up, then he'll have to deal with being able to go in and out.
Right.
And so we don't need to really address that, I don't think, in this circumstance.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you December 6th, and hopefully you'll have this all cleaned up.
Do we have an address for you, sir?
Huh?
Do we have an address we can reach you?
I'm staying in different friends' homes right
We
now.
need to keep in touch. You need to let us know where you are.
I'm at 356 Jefferson Street, across the street at a friend's home.
But you're checking your mail still. Are you
Yes,
checking your mail
yes,
at
I'm
the
right
house?
across the street.
So,
Okay.
You'll keep the officer informed as to
Yes,
as
yes.
your progress
I
goes.
saw him yesterday, and I told him I just
Okay,
got released
good.
yesterday.
All right, fine. That's fine.
Thank
All right,
you.
now we're going to take a break. If you're here for a case, please let us know. Please come up and tell Amy Hampton, please, that you're here for a case and what number it is. And when we reconvene in 5 minutes, we'll start with the cases of the people that are here. Mr. Harrington, we'll start with case 24, CEB 0917-110, Joshua Bolton, RV illegally parked. Go ahead.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, this case is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Daniel Garcia. Mr. Garcia reports that the property was in noncompliance, but it is now in compliance.
Okay.
And he would like that finding of noncompliance now in compliance.
Okay. All right. If there are no objections, the chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent previously in noncompliance but currently in compliance, or for any violation be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $5,000 per occurrence. Is there such a motion?
So, second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 25, CEB 0917-11, Dolores Podolsny at 1101 Sunland Road, RV illegally parked.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this case also, the respondent was in noncompliance but is now in compliance, and the inspector is Daniel Garcia, and he's asking for that finding.
Okay. There are no objections. Chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent previously in noncompliance but currently in compliance, and for any future violation be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $5,000 per occurrence. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mr. Weatherholt. Second.
Second.
Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right. Now, here we go for all of you that are still here. We're going to go in order.
Page
That's
5.
all we can do. All right.
19.
Case number 19. Person here. This would be Timothy Bagnall. Aha, he is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name, please, sir.
Timothy Bagnall.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from staff first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for compliance or non-compliance. The inspector's Tom Klieg. His case has been covered by Mr. Sanders in his absence. This property, Mr. Sanders reports that it's currently in non-compliance, and he spoke with the owner, and he's asking for the owner to bring the property into compliance by next cutoff.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to that, or?
What do I get, like 30 days to get
Yeah.
compliance?
Well,
I've already filed for the permit.
Oh, you've already filed for the permit?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
believe the permit
You'll
is
be fine.
actually ready to be picked up today.
Okay, all right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is November 6, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Next one. All right, we did 19. Is the next person here?
20, yes.
20? All right. CEB 0917-104 Nasser Mirella Gadimi at 841 North Wild Olive.
You state your name, please, sir.
Nasser Gadimi.
You raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay, I'm going to let staff speak, and then you can. This is to impose a fine for repeat violation.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector's Tom Klieg. Mr. Klieg reports that the property was, there was a finding of noncompliance on August 10th. Shortly after that, property was placed outdoors, waiting for removal. It stayed out for a period of time that resulted in a new violation. Mr. Klieg is asking for a $750 fine for the repeat violation. It's complaint generated, and but the property is now in compliance. So we ask for a finding of compliance, non-compliance, but with a fine imposed of $750 for the road fine.
Okay.
So I guess the imposition of a fine would probably be all you need.
Okay. Mr. Jesmer, did you want to say anything? You said that the witness had
Yes,
to leave.
I spoke to the witness. She took the photographs, and she wanted me to just pass it on. She had to leave. That the problem tenants, and this is her wording, have been evicted, so it has improved, but there was a violation, and she took the pictures.
Okay. Sir, what would you like to tell us?
Yes, ma'am. There was a problem tenant there, and after I talked to the police, and they told me about it, so I evicted the person. And
Good.
When those pictures were taken, and I called Mr. Kling, and I told him that they are in the process of moving, so they were putting their stuff out, and the mother was coming with her car and take their stuff away. And he said that he would talk to his superiors and determine that if that would be resolved. And I mentioned to him that it is just a process that they were very difficult people to find out when I did get rid of them, and I wanted to mention that this is just to make it a little bit easier for them, because they didn't have to come a U-Haul and take everything away, so they were taken in segments, but I just wanted them to be outside to make it easier for them. I mentioned to Mr. Kling that and he said it would be okay. It's not going to be a problem. As long as they're moving out by the end of the month, which they did, and we are in good standing with everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any questions from the board? All right. Staff has recommended a fine of $750 for the dates of noncompliance. So if there are no objections, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $750 for the date of noncompliance, for the dates of noncompliance. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Jones, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Thank you. All right, what's the next case?
Flip back. I think
21.
21,
All right. New Life Bible Church, CEB 0917106 at 507 Fifth Avenue. Respondents here. Good. Thank you. Come forward, state your name, and be sworn in, and good morning.
Good morning. Chris Arno.
And raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for a determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector report said the property is currently in noncompliance. Mr. Sanders is the inspector. He indicates he spoke with Mr. Cerno, Pastor Cerno, and that that they pulled the permits and they should be able to have it taken care of by next call.
Good. Okay, that's what we like to hear. All right, Mr. Sanders, have anything to add?
No, I got it. They've pulled the permits, like we said, and they got to figure out how to get to the upper part up there, and it's just, I believe they can get it done in 30 days.
Okay. Mr. Arnold, would you like to say anything?
How you doing?
Hi, good.
Sorry, what is your relationship to the church?
We just rent the church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you rent the church.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we never got the first paperwork. The paperwork was sent certified mail for the
Well, it wouldn't
violation.
come to the renter. It would go to the owner.
I got it after it was put on the door.
Okay.
It wasn't like we were trying to not take care of what was there. I didn't
Okay.
even know it was there. We
Okay.
found out about it. We tried to make our diligence as fast as possible. We got
Mm-hmm.
the permit already pulled, ready to go, and we'll
Okay.
take care of all of it.
Terrific.
And I apologize that we didn't know about everything.
Okay. Does somebody want to testify? Go ahead. Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Amy Pyle, 136 South Grandview Avenue.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm speaking as a witness because this property is in my neighborhood. I made a report after Hurricane Matthew about roof damage, and an inspector went out and marked it compliant, which I'm not really sure why. So now there's continued damage after Irma to the roof. But there is other damage on this property, and I understand the owner is not here today. The tenant is here, so it's the owner that has to pull the permit. I'm assuming we know that a permit has been pulled for the roof, but there are issues that could be safety issues. There's a rotten beam over a doorway. There is a broken concrete header over a doorway. There's exposed rusty rebar. There is a broken gate in the back. And the windows, as they, there's big windows on the side, as a piece breaks, they're being replaced with plywood. And this is a redevelopment area, so I want this board to understand that the owner of this property is not really trying. They knew the roof damage was there after Matthew, and they did not act on it, even though the code inspector didn't look up and see it. They should have known that that roof damage was there, so that kind of shows intent and some neglect. And the residents in that neighborhood would kind of like it to be cleaned up. It's street view as we go by. We're seeing plywood in the windows, broken, et cetera, just like I named. So I don't know if that has any bearing on the roof.
Well, what we're here, I'm
compliance,
just going to
but-
tell you, what we're here today to do is compliance or non-compliance about the roof being fixed.
I understand.
There can be other cases another time, but this is what this case is, and this is what we're going to rule on. So,
Thank you for allowing me to
okay.
speak.
You're welcome.
And the only person we can take witness of on intent is the person that we're dealing with, the proper. We can't take your opinion as to what their intent is.
All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why are you here versus the owner?
Right. That's a good question.
Yeah, the owner's he's like 96 years old and lives in Cleveland, Tennessee. His health is not well at all.
He authorized you to speak
Yes,
on
ma'am.
his behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's going to pull the permit?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's going to pull the permit?
We had a licensed contractor pull the permit.
So you have applied for that?
No, it's already been issued.
Oh, it's already been issued. So are they in? Okay.
We just
So they're.
we need
no,
to
it's
get.
not for permits. It's not.
We need to
fixed
give
yet.
them 30 days
We
and
need to
be
give
in
them until the
compliance.
next cutoff.
Well, what happened, that's what the thing was. We got the permit. The permit's in place. It's already been issued. They're figuring the material list has already been ordered. Got the receipts for that. It's just now them getting the job done. You know, with everything going on with the storm, I'm doing everything I possibly can to get it forward. And I just talked to Officer Sanders, and I said, whatever we got to do with the building, we are going to do. They've called the historic. I mean, I know that's not for here, but they've called the historic to make sure we try to do everything. I know there's a revitalization in the area. We asked. There's no finances for it, so we're doing the best we can. We're replacing what can be replaced the way it needs to be replaced. And I just got done talking to him. We'll do whatever we have to do to make it the way you guys want it.
Who pulled the permit? The contractor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
And why has
when do we?
you as a
Mr.
renter?
Saunders is 30 days. What your recommendation is?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, 30 days recommendation to get the roof finished, and I'm having a meeting with him Monday or tomorrow or Monday to go over the outstanding issues, and we can go over a knock list to fix what's
Okay, and
broken.
you're
I want to
the-
check on the historical value of the
Okay,
windows. I'm
and
not sure on that.
you'll check with Mrs. Pyle about
Yes,
whatever
I'll stay in contact.
problem.
All right. No, we're not here for anything other than the roof. And the next cutoff date is 11/6. Can we have the roof done by then? 11/1. Okay.
Yeah, the material's there, right?
Yeah, materials there.
Okay.
Yeah, materials there.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
hoping they can. I'm kind of on everybody else's timeline. I know we got the. I'll try to get it done as fast as
Okay.
possible.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's working a lot. It's kind of hard.
Okay.
Okay, I'll talk with him about it. Okay.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, November 6th, 2017, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day.
November 1st?
Oh, no, I did it again. Shall we? We should give
Let's give the 6th, give the 6th.
November 1st. All right, I'm getting slap happy up here. Okay. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay. All right, next case, do we have someone here for?
Number 22.
37.
All right, case number 37. That's on page 9. CEB 09-17-105, Rufus and Lorraine Walker. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and be sworn in. Good morning.
Is everyone going to be speaking?
Okay, then you two can, if you're not going to speak, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit down in front there if you'd like.
Is this for 37?
Can you state your name,
Yeah,
please, sir?
37.
Rufus Charles Walker,
Mhm. Page 9.
What case?
This
I'm
is
sorry, can you speak up to the microphone?
Rufus Charles
Case 39.
Walker Jr.
Can you raise your right hand, please, sir? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Okay, if you'll take a seat, we'll hear from staff first. This is case number 37 on page 9, CEB 09-17-105. All right. Mr. Jackson, what can you tell us?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is here for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property is currently in noncompliance, that he's spoken with the owner, that they should be able to have it into compliance by next cutoff, and so he's asking for you to give him till next cutoff to comply.
Okay.
Attendant Mr. Jones, if you have any factual questions.
Mr. Jones, anything you'd like to add?
No, I've talked with the Mark Jones.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Neighborhood Services. Talked with the son of the owner today at the hearing, and he has said that he'll be able to get it into compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay. All right, did you want to testify, sir? Is there anything you'd like to say? You're going to just get it into compliance. That's it? Okay.
To get into compliance, because it's concerning, I guess, it's a 65 Cadillac convertible that's in the driveway, a car that needs to be, I guess, removed.
Yeah.
Or do you have to, I want to know, what do I exactly have to do to make it exactly compliant?
Well, you'll have to talk to Mr. Jones, and we can't advise you on that, but Mr. Jones can tell you exactly what you need to do. Okay? So that's good. I'm glad to see that you'll have that all squared away.
Okay.
The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. November 1st. Don't ask me.
And if not, then the meeting is November 9th, if you need more time. Sure. Or
Okay, thank you very much.
but you'll get it in the mail.
Thank all of you for waiting, too. I know this has been a long day. All right, what's next?
42,
42.
I believe, unless other people can.
Okay. On page 10, case number 42, CEB 10-17-127, the Carolyn Shave Living Trust. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Carolyn Shea, 112 South Oleander Avenue.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Jackson?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that the property was being renovated without permits, need permits submitted. He believes that can be done by next cutoff, and so asks for finding of noncompliance and next cutoff to come into compliance.
Okay. Ms. Shaver, what would you like to tell us?
I have filed for the notice of commencement. I've hired a builder to do the installation and the framing, and I have in a contract with doors and windows.
Great.
So however long it takes to get everything done like that, we're on our way.
Okay. Well, we're just here for no permits. You get all your permits, and that will take care of that.
Okay.
So, Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order to respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right, now, next one. 45, still on page 10. CEB 10-17-130, Christopher A. and Patricia Hall. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Whoever's going to be testifying, just come up and state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Everybody, or just?
No, just two people, right? Two of you. Okay.
Can you please state your names?
Patricia Hall, 710 3rd Street, Holly Hill, Florida. Jennifer Jones, 645 West Boiler Road, in Turtle Beach, Florida.
Can you raise your right hands, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that he's aware of the conditions and everything is in compliance except for the question of rental license. He spoke with the respondent this morning, and based on a conversation he had with the parent tenant, but it's actually the mother of the respondent, and she's not a tenant according to the respondent. So if they're swearing to that under oath, then this would be in compliance. So if they want to come up and tell you that under oath, that's what they've informed the inspector, that she's not a tenant, and that was the only outstanding issue regarding the noncompliance.
So I just want to make sure I understand this. The mother is living there, but is not a tenant. Is she an owner?
Me.
You're the owner.
I don't
Okay.
know what happened to say that she pay me rent. She don't pay me rent.
Right,
It's
that's
my
fine.
mama. And
Right.
I got a house, and my mama was homeless, and I didn't know she was staying with my sister at first, and then they got into it, and I can't let my mama stay outside. So I told her to live there. She don't pay me no rent, and that's why I was like, why do I need this? She don't pay me rent.
What about all the? What would you like to say?
I just want to. I also live there, and I don't pay my sister rent either. I'm just a talent to pay the water and lights at the property, and my mom does not pay rent to my sister.
Okay, I get that. My only other question would be for staff. What about all the other infractions that are
Well,
on
the
here?
major infractions were the 3 unlicensed vehicles that they had on the property. All 3 of them have been removed.
Okay.
They had, the yard had all kinds of junk in it. It had high weeds. The shrubbery around it, this is a corner lot, had gotten out of hand. They have trimmed all that up. There should be a picture of it. These are some of the different vehicles. But this is now the yard. It's been all mowed.
Okay.
All the junk has been removed. It's not a rental property.
Right.
So it doesn't fall under our property maintenance code. So all, with it not being a rental property, all the other violations have been corrected.
So it's in compliance, is what you're
compliance.
saying?
Yeah, it's in compliance.
They said based on their sworn testimony, this.
Okay, we've had sworn testimony that the property is in compliance as of today.
Yeah, I'd had no
October
previous
12th.
contact with the owner. All my contact had
Okay.
been with her mother.
Okay, so you're in compliance. Thank you. Okay. All right, next.
Was that 47?
47, that's on page 11. CEB 10-17-132, Vandal of Daytona Incorporated, 614 Speedway.
Good morning.
Hi.
Randall Phillips, 1505 Crescent Ridge Road. I'm the proprietor and owner of the property.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, we'll hear from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders requests that property be brought into compliance by next cutoff.
Okay. Need to add anything?
I just want to apologize about it. As you can see, the yellow I paint, and I have a joker that lives in the neighborhood that likes to graffiti it every time I paint it. So every time I paint that side, they come back and just graffiti the whole wall. So that's why it's been looking the way it has. I literally have neighbors that will come and just put primer on it, and then I'll paint yellow on it. And the minute I paint yellow on it, whoever it is comes and just graffitis the whole wall all over again. So it's an ongoing battle. But I'll get it. I apologize. Time is
vacant?
It's storage, but yeah, it's vacant. I don't have a tenant any longer. Right now, it used to be a gas station. I had all the 3 tanks pulled, and currently it's going under deep well monitoring, so I can't really pave it until the state stops doing the monitoring.
Just out of curiosity, what was the business that was in
Before it was Schumer's, and then it was a pure oil gas station, I believe. Okay,
sure.
And that was.
Remember the ice cream? That ice cream there?
Howard's ice cream. That is the best ice cream. Better pecan ice cream.
with the very interesting telephone booth.
Best ice cream in town.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
But I will get into compliance. I apologize for any
Okay.
inconvenience.
All right, thank you very much. There are no objections. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
Second.
All right. Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Next case.
What case are you for?
23.
23. Madison?
What number?
23.
Okay. Let me get back to it.
No, you need to step up here and state your name.
All right, we're going back to case 23.
Can you state your name, please, sir?
Okay, my name is Raymond Saeed.
Can you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, please have a seat. We'll get to you in a minute. This is CEB 09-17-108, case number 23 on page 6. Okay. At 502 Madison Avenue. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance of noncompliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that the respondent remains in noncompliance, and he would need till next cutoff to come into compliance. And I tend to Mr. Sanders for any other facts or information you may desire.
This is one unit out of how many?
Jerry Sanders, City of Daytona Beach. This is one unit out of 5. And the zoning use has been changed. The BT expired, and I had a complaint from one of the tenants, and they let me in with a consent form to do an inspection, and that's where all the violations come in.
Do you feel these rodents and so forth are a health and safety issue, particularly for other tenants?
I do.
How many units are we talking about in this?
You're talking about 5 units in this.
5 altogether?
5 altogether, and again, with the use change, it has to be a storage area. It can't be residential. So.
But there's still tenants in it.
I'm not understanding the implication of that.
The use right here is an M1 use located local industry, and the upstairs of the building, was converted into apartments.
5 apartments?
5 apartments.
Can I see the picture? Let's see the outside. I need to understand this a little bit. All right, those are all inside pictures.
Yes.
So the outside, what's on the bottom floor of the outside?
The bottom floor was a business. I don't know what it was. That's back up, please. That's the front of the building right there.
And so you mean to tell me there are 5 units above that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the living quarters.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any evidence of permits being issued for this, or any other inspections or anything?
No.
It just happened.
Well, it's been there for a while. It precedes me.
Do you know if all the other units are occupied?
I don't. I wasn't invited into the other units.
Okay, I will. Okay, we'll ask him. Okay.
And at this time, I'll let him speak.
Okay, good. All right, Mr. Saeed, please come up. And what would you like to tell us?
Sure. We have, I do have downstairs is such as a warehouse, empty space. I use it for personal use, the equipment for my store, fridge and such as things like that. However, upstairs there was 5 units. It's like most of them is efficiency and 1-bedroom unit. However, one of the unit, the lady had called in about lights or something that Mr. Anderson came in and inspected the building. However, I did hire a contractor to correct all the violation that Mr. Sander had wrote to us. The only situation, I got in touch with him 2-3 times, and he said the situation, my license for the apartment is expired. I went to talk to the city. They told me because you have 5 units, you have to apply for the license in Tallahassee, I believe. When I sent them my application, Tallahassee sent me a paper, said the code enforcement must sign that the property is valid, for somebody to live in it, or there is no violation on it. Since then, I was waiting for the meeting about my property. Mr. Sanders shocked me. He said, you cannot get nobody to live upstairs anymore because the code has been changed. I'm not aware of it. I know my license is expired. It's been a year. I'm not aware of it. And it's just, that's why we are over here.
How long have you owned the property, sir?
It's been 4 years, ma'am.
Were there apartments up there when you bought the property?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do to correct the infestations you had?
Sir, the situation, most tenants, when they don't have enough money to pay the rent, they will start. When you do have eviction notice, they will start calling the code enforcement saying, I know she said something about bed bug in the apartments. However, when I rent her the apartment, her son and his wife moved in. Now, we're talking about efficiency, room, 3 people staying in it. When I asked her, they must leave, you're the only one allowed to live in the apartment, she called the code enforcement on me, and we do, I did hire a contractor, correct all the violation that Mr. Sanders mentioned it on the papers, and I have.
So you're working on that?
Well, I asked Mr. Sanders to go ahead and inspect it because most of it is correct, and he said nothing I could do about it till you come to the meeting about the license that's been expired. And I'm not aware what is going on, ma'am.
So you have receipts from your electrical contractor and
Yes,
the
sir.
plumber and all to show
the
that work was
and-
done?
And the spray bug and the bed bug, yes, sir, I do have.
I have a question
Yes,
for the inspector. You say it's currently under M1 use. When did that code change?
They made him aware, and I had to check into it also because I was surprised by it because the remedies that I was asking him to do, and he was going to fill that to get into compliance, and we recognized that he had to get the state license because it's 5 units or better, and I was just main concern with the code issues. I was made aware by P&L that the use has been changed, that he cannot get this license for that use anymore. It has to be taken back to a storage facility. So
what you're saying, it's a moot point
At this-
about the code enforcement. It's out of compliance and can't be apartments on top of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm more interested in this. You said you thought it was a health and safety issue. Has that been corrected or not?
I haven't been there to inspect since. If he's willing to let me come in, I'll let him testify that if he's had it exterminated or, had the rats exterminated. I couldn't answer that question at this time.
But you're saying that he can no longer rent these units when it's a storage unit
I don't
now,
understand.
legally.
That's just that one unit.
No.
All of the units?
The whole thing.
There's a remedy that may, and I'm not going to answer
Right.
to it, but he can possibly apply for a variance since it was changed and it was already there. That's totally up
Yeah.
to whoever follows
Well,
up with that.
Well, that's not up to us. So I guess that what we're here to do is find out whether or not, the property is in compliance or not in compliance. The pictures show that it is not in compliance, not fully in compliance. So if there are no objections, I'm going to entertain a motion to find the respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. And I thank you. So we'll see you next month.
Yes, ma'am.
Confusing, okay. Anybody left?
Yeah, I think so. 22.
22. Well, let's. Is that
Page
it? We're
six.
on case
Page
20.
six,
Let's
22.
finish this page. Page 6.
Page 6,
22. CEB 09-17-107. Robert Stearns at 308 Kingston Avenue.
This is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that the property remains in noncompliance, and he's asking for next cutoff order to be brought into compliance.
Okay. And no contact? No nothing? Okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration and a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, we're done with page 6. Page 7. Page 8. We're on back to page 9. Or up to page 9.
38.
38. CEB 0917-101 at 553 Derbyshire Road, Adabasuja. Respondent not present. What can you tell us, Mr. Jackson?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I kind of got off a little bit.
Oh, that's page 9.
What happened to case 24?
Number 38. CEB 09-17-101. Okay, what are you asking about, Mr.?
24 was in compliance.
They were in compliance?
24 and 25.
The boat storage?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we did a will find on both of them. 24 and 25.
They were non-compliant, now in compliance.
Okay.
I think we started it while you were returning, so you may not have been at the DS yet.
24
Maybe.
and 25, I have nothing.
Well, I called the meeting to order because we had a quorum and you were walking in. At that point, I assumed that you were hearing what was going on.
Boy, you did, between the time I walked in and got up here, you got 2
We
cases?
We did. Mm-hmm.
Case number 38, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Okay, that's a determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. He reports that the property is currently in noncompliance, and he's requesting next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Okay. Working without, all right. No pictures or anything, just, okay. All right. There are no objections. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. We are on case number 39, CEB 10-17-124, same person at different address, 530 Cannon Street.
Madam Chair, same inspector. This is for compliance, non-compliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Reports that the property remains in non-compliance and asks for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Okay. Anything to add? Chair, no objection. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second.
Second.
Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 40, CEB 10-17-125, Lloyd Haynes at 626 Madison Avenue.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports he has had no contact with the owner. The property remains in noncompliance. He's asking for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Okay. Can I just, Mr. Jones, have you talked to, I forgot to ask you this. Did you talk to Adiba Suja at all?
No, I've had no contact.
No contact. Okay. Another no contact. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. 626. All right. Any questions?
When you say that there's no contact, you show what you note, put a notice on the structure, or how do you notify them? I mean,
Yes, well, on these were on, let me see, on both of them. They were contacted, they signed on the 530 Cannon. A certified mail was delivered and signed for on August 23rd. And on the 553 Derbyshire, they received their violation by certified mail on May 15th. I then had no contact back from them.
That's kind of what we assume, I think. Okay.
Right, no response.
All right, no response is really, I guess, what we mean. All right. So on case 40, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and or the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mr. Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Weatherholtz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. On page 10, case 41, CEB 1017126, Kimberly Alfred at 1062 Madison. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector, Mark Jones, reports the property is in noncompliance and requests next cutoff for compliance.
All right, would you like to say anything about that?
Yes, they have removed the vehicles. This is what it presently looks like. They just have one more unlicensed vehicle that they say they'll have removed from the property before the next cutoff.
Okay. So they've cleaned up the outside storage as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that should be taken care of by the next cutoff. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 44 on page 10 still. Angelo Pagan at 548 Spruce Street.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this property was being renovated without permits. And it's also a rental property. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports it's in noncompliance and requests next cutoff for it to come into compliance.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Page number 11. Case 48. CEB 101711133, Orbit Real Estate Development Corporation, 120 Madison.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this property is before you for compliance or determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. Mr. Sanders reports that the property is in noncompliance and requests next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
this a commercial piece of property?
Yes. It is. Spoke with the building owner and the tenant. They've pulled permits to fix all the issues, and I think they have the electrical to do. And they're going to call by Monday afternoon for the final inspection, and for us to come out and do our code enforcement inspection also to clear the matter up. He assures us it'll be done by next cutoff.
Well, okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion? Mr.
Second.
Harrington made motion. Second, Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, let's see. Now we're on 49 CEB 10-17-134. Warbeck Enterprises.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders. He reports the property is in non-compliance. Next cutoff to come into compliance.
Yeah, it's been like that for a while, hasn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, this was done during Hurricane Matthew. They went through, never did fix it. So.
And did they ever talk to you?
No response.
Mm-hmm. No response. Okay. All right.
That's in the redevelopment area.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is a redevelopment area.
All right.
If it happened on Matthew,
what?
And it was just written
August. Yeah, why wasn't it written up sooner?
Because we had went through the hurricane of last year.
Yeah.
And then we allowed that time to fix everything, and then that was cut off, and then code enforcement was. And I just came into this area not long ago either, so.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Now we are on case number 50. The bottom of page 11, CEB 10-17-135, Peter Scheiss at 506 Fifth Avenue.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Jerry Sanders, who reports the property is in non-compliance, and he asked for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
Okay. Have you had any contact with the owner?
We had one contact with him. He said he was going to get it fixed and apply for the rental license, and I haven't heard from him since.
Okay, well, there's nothing on here about a rental license.
I'm sorry. That was the next case. Oh. I had to cite it at two different times, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
For the violations, he was supposed to get them fixed.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'll testify to the next. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, we'll do it separately. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, same person, same place. Okay.
Same
Failure
inspector, same
to
place.
obtain the license. Okay. Anything to add? Do we need to? All right. Here's case number 51, CEB 10-17-136, Peter Scheiss at 506 Fifth Avenue.
And Madam Chair, members of the board, as you indicated, this is the same property. We elected to leave it separate because it was separate notifications. And the inspector reports it's in non-compliance. Next cutoff to come into compliance.
All right. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is second violation by the same landlord. So, just for my information, is the fine increased when it's a second violation by a landlord?
It doesn't have to. It could if you want to, but it's not automatic.
They're separate cases? Is that what you're referring to, that they're separate cases?
They may be separate cases, but
Yeah,
it's
so
the
we
same
can fine
landlord.
for each one,
Yeah,
for each case.
I think you may be thinking the question of whether or not it's a repeat violation
Right.
when you
Right.
make the second
No.
finding.
No.
Okay.
Right.
But,
You
yeah.
can certainly
Two
consider a whole bunch of cases, you can take into consideration, but it's not a repeat violation.
All right. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mr. Weatherholt, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. And case number 52 is continued, so I think we're done with the cases.
Did we get them all, Amy?
We did. Did it all. It's only 10 after 12. Good. Is there any other business? I know that we had started in the beginning of the meeting to talk about Mr. Smart and seeing if we could get in touch with him. I just
Anyone know what's
didn't.
going on with him at all?
So we could send some kind of
Adjourn?
message.
Okay, yeah. All right. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to adjourn and then we can talk about this because I don't want this on the record. What?
You wanted to speak on it.
I think not.
Case is closed.
Unless
Yeah, he
there's
wants
a
to
real
address
compelling
the-
reason.
I guess from a Roberts Rule perspective, you actually do come back at the end of the
What case are we
meeting.
talking about?
This was
841 North Ball,
20, where the fine was imposed.
I'm sorry to bother you so late. I appreciate you listen to me.
Well, they didn't say they will listen yet.
Oh, okay. I'm
What we need is a motion. We need a motion to reconsider the case.
Motion to
Vote on the
reconsider.
affirmative side.
Yes.
Somebody has to make a motion to reconsider the case.
Wouldn't you need to hear what his request is for reconsideration if he's making one?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
what's the basis of it?
You know,
Or-
no, I'm saying that somebody from the board here has to, there's a new evidence
Reopen the
to be here.
case? Do we
We're
wish to allow the case to be
We're going
reopened?
to
no
reopen
ma-
the case just because he wants to talk. We don't know why we should, other than that, what is the reason for reopening the case?
We have to vote to open it first.
We have to vote to open it, and then I guess we would.
Yeah.
Someone from the affirmative side, everybody was affirmative, has to make a motion to reconsider this case. The case is done. Yeah, now it's not a big coming back next month or coming back on, but if you want to reconsider it, you have that right.
Make the motion to reconsider.
We don't know what he wants to talk about.
So that's why, you know.
He always has the right for a lead review.
I can tell you.
If anyone wants to make a motion, they can, if not. Guys.
I think Mrs. Hyams did.
Mrs. Hymes made a motion to reconsider the case.
That was before.
Yeah, that was before. Do you want to withdraw or you want to keep it? All right. Motion has been withdrawn. Would anyone else like a motion to reopen the case? All right, there's no motion to do that, so we're not going to hear that. The case ruling is as decided. Stands. Meeting adjourned.